Look, I just want to start by thanking all those people that gave me inspiring comments on my last two videos. It's an inspiration to know that there are so many other crazy people out there who are interested in the crazy things that I say, and particularly those couple of people who said that I have terminal TDS. Now, I do need to let you know that most of whatever we have is terminal, primarily because life is finite, for those of you that don't understand that. But whether I'll ever change my view around Donald Trump is probably very unlikely. There may be those rare occasions, though, where I may agree with things that he does do. But I'll certainly be here to tell you about the buffoonery that certainly is Donald J. Trump. Now, that buffoonery was exhibited recently when he had a group of oligarchs sitting on the front row of his inauguration, and he chose to celebrate them by simply having them in front of his family, in front of his secretaries of state and those people that were to be appointed. He thought of the oligarchs as more important than perhaps anybody else. And there's no disputing that he sees wealthy people as being superior to the working class. That is for certain. That he himself has wanted to be a party to the billionaire class, primarily because while in New York he was seen as what I now define as a buffoon. He wasn't a serious person. He was a propagandist of racism and rapism, for that matter, as we've seen. So I was surprised when today I heard that there was a Chinese effort to dominate the AI marketplace. And I shouldn't have been surprised, because there's one thing the Chinese are really good at, and that is competing with the United States and the rest of the world over electric vehicles, hybrids, solar panels, you name it. The Chinese are really good at doing most things, building cities, even cities that no one occupies. But they're good at all of that stuff. So it shouldn't be a surprise to any of us that they came out with a product called Deepseek, which is a great name when you think about it. ChatGPT, what the hell is that? But Deepseek, you can imagine what that is about. It tells you what it's about in the name. It's seeking deeply. So it's a great name, I think, and certainly streaks ahead of anything else that the AI industry's come up with. So go Chinese. But Donald Trump, the buffoon that he is, has been celebrating AI in the ways that I've described, and saying that AI is going to be the future and so on. But the Chinese have said, no, hold on, buddy. No, it isn't. So they came up with a product that is cheaper to produce. And not only is it cheaper to produce in terms of its technology, it's open source. So other people have access to the source code, so they can utilize what the Chinese have developed as well. Now, I take this back. Many years ago, I used to get really upset with Microsoft because I didn't want to subscribe to an organization that had a monopoly. Nothing about Bill Gates at that time. Just didn't want to be associated with an organization that had a monopoly over our computer systems, Windows in particular, and Microsoft Word. And then other people came out with other products that you could use that were open source. So people saw this opportunity to get those. Now, none of them really have taken off. There was word processing, and there was graphics, and there was a whole host of these open source products that were competing with Microsoft. And I tried to use them, and eventually I got sucked back into using Microsoft products, regretfully. But the interesting thing here is that we can all use AI. We all do use AI, or I use it a bit to do searches and sometimes tell me write scripts and stuff. So I use AI. Now, I'm quite happy to invest my time and effort, doesn't cost me anything to use AI, in a service which is quicker, cheaper, and is not giving money or funded by the oligarchs that Trump supports. So I'm more than happy. I don't give stuff whether it's Chinese. I'm sure most of the stuff we buy in our house comes from China at the end of the day. So computer chips and everything else. So I'm not going to balk at just not buying anything that's Chinese. But I'm going to look at it, and I tried to look at it, and what I discovered while doing my Deepseek was that when I tried to register, I couldn't register, incidentally, with a Microsoft account. Interestingly, I could only register with my Gmail account. But that proved a complication because apparently they're being continually attacked by those people who just don't want them to get that hold. Now, I wonder who that might be, because the stock exchange took a massive hit in the US yesterday because they some of their heavy investments, particularly from NVIDIA, came about because of their investment in AI technology and some of the chips that they use. Whereas this other one doesn't have the same sort of technology, uses less power and is much cheaper. And so when another product comes on the market that is far superior to the one that's already there, obviously they're going to get a hit. And they did. They lost almost $1 trillion. The largest corporation in the world, NVIDIA, took a massive hit. Bad luck. So when I signed on, though, or tried to sign on to Deepseek, what I found was it said, due to large-scale malicious attacks on Deepseek services, registration may be busy. And it is. I can't do it. Please wait and try again. Registered users can log on normally. Thank you for your understanding and support. So I'm unable to get in there. It asks me to send a code and all that sort of stuff, and I don't receive one. The reason is, I think, that they're being bombarded by all these other multinationals who are trying to disrupt them, right? I just could not imagine the Americans doing that, but clearly they have. So in order to discuss what this is, I've gone to an article in Information Age, which says just this, actually, that Deepseek's leading advantage over rivals such as America's OpenAI is it claims to have used fewer chips to develop its models. As a result, high-performing offerings such as RI, which can purportedly hold its own against OpenAI's O1 and all that other stuff, which I do not understand. According to The Guardian, a December research paper said Deepseek managed to build its models with NVIDIA's H800 chips and not the more advanced other chips. And these chips were banned from export to China in 2022. And it's almost like the Chinese have said, back of you, we're going to do our own thing. We don't need to worry about your chips anyway. Let's invent something that has our own chips, which is less expensive. It does surprise me that Chinese can do things less expensive than the rest of the world. I'm amazed at that. Director of RMIT University Centre of Cyber Security Research and Innovation, Matt Warren, told Information Age that purported lead in production costs has impacted confidence in the US stock market around AI investments. Oh, that's so sad. Donald and his co-conspirators and his oligarchs will be extremely disappointed. Deepseek claimed that their AI model was developed for $5.6 million rather than the billions that US businesses invested in AI development. It's hard to imagine that, but that's what they're saying. The claim, they say, of $5.6 million does seem a very low figure. Who could argue that? And whether or not it is disinformation to try and manipulate the market, it has worked. Ryan Klotz, global head of AI at tech consultancy Cinecon, added Deepseek was set apart by its efficient architecture, innovative training techniques, and optimized resource management. So, my point is, go Chinese. And where does this leave the Buffoon? Where is he now around his amazing support for and influence on the oligarchs, or the oligarchs' influence on him? Where does that leave the United States then as the leaders in this field? Because you've just been outpaced by your major competitor, big time. And so what are you going to do now? And I'm anxious to sit back. I haven't heard any news yet, but I'm anxious to sit back and hear what the buffoon of them all has to say about the Chinese outstripping, outrunning, defeating the United States on this particular issue, given that his investment of time and just making these people seem available and presenting them as he did in the inauguration, and putting so much faith in these people because this is the club he wants to belong to, and now being kicked in the teeth by a Chinese company called Deepseek. Amazing. So let me know what you think about all of that, which I am convinced some of you will do because you just cannot resist. But go ahead, I don't give a shit. So let me know what you think about all of that. In the meantime, take care, look after yourselves, and more importantly, be safe.